My husband Marcus was openly flirting with his lover right in front of me. He even pressured me to drink for his beautiful colleague, who was allergic to alcohol, while I was pregnant. I slapped him across the face and told him I wanted a divorce. 10, I lost again. Marcus, Ivy said, tugging lightly at his sleeve, I'm really allergic to alcohol. I can't touch a single drop. What should I do? Marcus's heart softened, and he smiled gently. It's okay, Grace, why don't you drink it for Ivy? She's allergic, and I'll be driving later, so I can't drink either. I clenched my fists, a mix of emotions churning inside me, but I maintained a stoic expression. She's allergic and can't drink, but I'm pregnant, and I can? Marcus, do you have any common sense? Marcus froze for a moment, a flicker of hesitation in his eyes. Seeing this, Ivy quickly took the glass, biting her lips slightly. Actually, the baby is very stable in the 3rd trimester, and this alcohol has a low proof, so a little bit truly won't hurt. If doesn't want to drink it, I'll just drink it myself. I'll just have to trouble Marcus to take me to the hospital later. With that, she started to bring the alcohol to her lips. Marcus snatched the glass, his voice laced with concern. Grace, why are you being so unreasonable? During the holiday season, do you really want to send someone to the hospital? How bad would that look? You're drinking this, whether you like it or not. Marcus said, pinching my chin and trying to force the alcohol down my throat. The liquid slid down my throat, chilling me to the core, and my stomach churned. I hadn't eaten anything that evening, and this made me feel even worse. I suddenly stood up, putting all my strength into a slap across Marcus's face. Let's get a divorce, I said calmly. Marcus froze, his eyes wide with shock. The next second, his brows furrowed, and his eyes blazed with fury. Grace, you dare to hit me in public? You have no respect. Divorce? Fine, let's do it. I'd like to see who else would want a shrew like you besides me, he roared. I stared at him, my heart turning to ice. He had changed ever since his junior from college started working at the company. At first, he just took care of her a bit, occasionally picking her up or dropping her off since it was on his way, and sometimes they'd eat together. At that time, I even tried to convince myself that it was just a normal colleague relationship. But it wasn't until this moment that I realized blind trust was just self-deception. Our solemn vows of eternal love ultimately couldn't withstand worldly temptations. In the end, everything amounted to nothing. In a couple of days, my lawyer will give you the divorce papers. Remember to sign them. With that, I put on my clothes and left the house. Behind me, I faintly heard Marcus's dismissive voice. Just wait, she'll be back begging for my forgiveness in less than 5 minutes. I laughed, a desolate, bitter sound. A love that had to be forced was not worth having. 02 Snow fell thick and fast, and fireworks boomed. On the night street, people bustled everywhere, but I walked alone. I dialed that number, both strange and familiar. It was the first time in 3 years that I had called my parents voluntarily. Back then, they strongly opposed me marrying Marcus, saying our families were too far apart in social standing. But I was convinced Marcus was someone I could entrust my life to, and for that, I didn't hesitate to break ties with my parents. Now, it seemed I really should have listened to them. I held back my tears and told them I would come home once everything was sorted out, and I also offered them a sincere apology. Henry and Margaret sensed something was wrong, but afraid of upsetting me further, they only told me to take care of myself. I booked a room at a nearby restaurant. My phone kept ringing, so I just turned it off. I slept until noon the next day, then got up to go home and pack my bags. I was ALR. ED week in my 3rd trimester, and the elevator was under maintenance, so I had to climb the stairs. By the time I reached the 10th floor, I was breathless and completely drained. As soon as I opened the door, a strange smell hit me. The floor was covered in cigarette butts and empty bottles, and the floor was sticky. It wasn't a room, it was a dumpster. I felt a wave of nausea and quickly went into the kitchen, hoping to drink some water to relieve it. To my surprise, I saw Marcus tenderly feeding Ivy bread. Marcus saw me, and a flicker of panic crossed his eyes. He stood up and threw the bread in his hand at me. I couldn't dodge it in time, and the bread hit me squarely on the forehead, instantly swelling up. Marcus snapped coldly, "Where did you go off to last night? And you still know how to come back? I called you so many times. All I asked was for you to drink a glass of wine. Was it really that big a deal? You seem fine, so why are you faking it?" I sneered. He probably forgot how much he cared about the baby in my belly 3 months ago. Marcus had a low sperm count, and to carry on the family line, he knelt and begged me to undergo IVF, vowing to make it up to me, love me, and cherish me for life. I went through 2 years of IVF, enduring countless hardships. Now, with just over a month until the baby was due, he started to despise my figure and appearance. It was truly ridiculous. Looking back, ever since Ivy joined the company, he had grown increasingly cold toward me, resisting my touch. When he saw my stretch marks, the disgust and fear in his eyes were undeniable. I tried hard to salvage the relationship, willingly stepping back and becoming a stay-at-home wife. I meticulously took care of his daily life, but he, on the other hand, was cooking for another woman and even feeding her. The way they were, if I had come back any later, they might have been feeding each other mouth to mouth. I countered, Marcus, Ivy is wearing my new wedding nightgown. Isn't she? By the looks of it, she stayed here last night? A flicker of panic crossed Marcus's eyes, but he still argued stubbornly. We stayed out too late last night. She shares an apartment with roommates and didn't want to disturb them, so I let her stay here. You're not going to be that petty, are you? Fine, if he wants to play, I'll play along until the very end. 03 This apartment is my separate property. Why should I leave and let that despicable pair live here in peace? I abandoned my plan to pack and turned to walk into the bedroom. To my surprise, the bed in the bedroom was messy, clothes were strewn everywhere, and mixed with that nauseating smell of smoke and alcohol, it was obvious what had happened. Ivy walked in and, as if it were her right, sat on the bed and played a recording of their heavy breathing. Ivy, I only love you in this life. I don't like that ugly woman at all. You don't know, ever since she got pregnant, she smells like an old person. I don't even want to go near her, she stinks. Ivy waved her phone, her eyes full of triumph. Grace, Marcus really likes me. He was afraid I wouldn't be comfortable sleeping, so he let me sleep in your bed. You don't mind, do you? My heart was twisted in agony, but I forced myself to remain calm. Clenching my fists and suppressing the turmoil within, I said flatly, mind what? He's good to everyone. Today he dotes on this one, tomorrow he loves that one. Marcus pushed the door open, threw an apron at my face, his eyes still cold. Ivy and I are going out to run some errands. You clean up the house and then make us a meal. Today, we'll have braised fish, corn with pine nuts, pork rib soup, and a few stir-fried vegetable dishes. With that, he left. I looked around. Yesterday, this house was clean and tidy. Today, it was a filthy mess. Just like certain people, it was beyond saving. I threw the apron on the floor. Whoever wanted to cook could cook, I certainly wouldn't. Without a word, I booked an induction abortion and found a real estate agent online. At noon, Marcus and Ivy walked in and were stunned. Not only was the house filthy, but there were also two strange men inside. Grace, what are you doing? How could you just let strangers in? Marcus roared. I said nothing, lowering my head to continue signing the house sale contract. Pleasure doing business with you, I said. Marcus roughly pushed Tony aside, snatched the contract, and began flipping through it. You're selling the house. Who gave you the right? He glared at me, his eyes full of menace. Ivy also accused me. Grace, selling a house is a big deal. How can you decide something like that on your own? Where do you put Marcus? Marcus grew even angrier. Grace, has your conscience been eaten by dogs? I've been so good to you, and you betray me like this. Seeing his angry and resentful gaze, it was completely different from the joy he'd shown 8 months ago when he learned my IVF was successful. I said calmly, this is my separate property. I have the right to dispose of it. Why can't I sell it? A flash of surprise appeared in Ivy's eyes. Marcus, this house isn't yours? 04 In front of his beloved, Marcus naturally refused to admit the house wasn't his. What kind of joke is this? This house is clearly mine. I don't agree to sell, and no one else can sell it. He ripped at it with both hands, and the contract tore in half with a rip. Tony's face turned ashen. He grabbed Marcus's collar and punched him in the face. Damn it, I finally closed a deal, and you're ruining it, you shameless jerk. I'm a real estate agent. How could I not know whose house this is? It's bad enough that you cheated on your wife, but you also want to claim the house as your own. You're a disgrace to men everywhere. Today, I'm going to teach you a lesson on behalf of all men. This house was in the downtown district. To sell it quickly, I priced it low and deliberately chose to sign the contract when they came home for lunch. How could Marcus not try to stop it once he saw? And how could Tony easily give up on this deal? Marcus was curled up on the ground, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. Help me, call the police, he pleaded with me and Ivy, his eyes filled with hope. This has nothing to do with me, Ivy said, waving her hand and quickly stepping away. I waved my hand, stopping Tony. Stop hitting him. Give me another copy of the contract, and I'll sign it. I wasn't stopping it because I felt sorry for Marcus, but because I was tired and needed to rest and eat. I quickly scribbled my name on the contract. Marcus stood by, fuming but unable to speak. As soon as Tony left, Marcus shoved me onto the sofa. Ow! It hurt so much. My stomach immediately felt a sinking sensation, making it hard to breathe. Marcus roared, "Couldn't you see I was being beaten? Why didn't you stop it faster? If it weren't for you, would I have been hit? Where are we going to live during the holiday season? Go buy me another house and put it in my name." After 3 years of marriage, it was the first time I realized how utterly shameless he was. I slowly stood up from the sofa. If it weren't for the attending physician being on holiday for the new, I would have gotten rid of this burden long ago. Marcus, Tony hit you, and you didn't dare to fight back. Your dear sister abandoned you, and you don't dare to complain. Do you only pick on the weak? Marcus glared at me fiercely, about to speak, when his phone rang. It was Ivy calling. His expression immediately changed, and he answered the phone with a beaming smile. 05 I took my suitcase and went to meet my friends, and also arranged for a cleaning service to tidy up the house. Before leaving, I took one last look at this house, which I had once cared for with all my heart, a place filled with love, happiness, and sorrow. Soon, it would belong to someone else. I hoped my misfortune wouldn't extend to anyone else. By the I entered the private dining room. My friends had already ordered a table full of my favorite dishes. It was almost laughable. After 3 years of marriage with Marcus, he knew less about my preferences than my friends did. The moment they saw me, they all, without prior arrangement, looked at me with sympathy. "Grace, don't worry, we'll take care of that scumbag for you. That restaurant you opened for him, the food has gotten worse and worse since you left. But for your sake, we often encouraged others to patronize it. Finally, we don't have to eat there anymore. Oh, by the way, I found out Ivy's real reason for getting close to Marcus." A friend handed me her phone. On the screen, she was naked and lying on top of another man. "Husband, don't worry. Marcus is completely infatuated with me. Soon, all his money, including his restaurant, will be ours." I looked at my friends, touched. Friendship was far more reliable than love. I told them my plan: to spread rumors after the news that people had gotten food poisoning at the restaurant. In no time, rumors spread, and the health authorities demanded an investigation. Marcus called me, his voice filled with urgency. "Grace, where have you been? Hurry up and come here, the restaurant's being investigated." Okay. I slowly made my way out the door and headed to the restaurant. As soon as I entered, Marcus pulled me aside and whispered, "Don't you still have 100,000? Give that money to them, apologize, and they might let us off the hook since you're pregnant." I looked at Marcus in disbelief. Back then, when I cut ties with my parents, I only had $1 million. To open a restaurant for him, I spent a total of $700,000, leaving $300,000 as emergency funds. After that, Marcus kept eyeing my money. The restaurant made millions in profit each year, but he never returned my initial investment, claiming he wanted to open a branch. Even all the household expenses came out of my own POC. Ket. Now he had at least a few million, yet he wasn't even willing to part with 100,000, still coveting my small savings. He was more Ebenezer than Ebenezer. Since he was heartless, I wouldn't be righteous either. He didn't want to spend money, so I would make sure he went from being a millionaire to being deeply in debt. 07 I refused to pay. Marcus's face was grim, he looked as if he wanted to strangle me. "If you dare not pay, believe me, I'll divorce you." I took the divorce papers out of my bag. "That suits me perfectly. Sign it." Marcus remained motionless, a struggle flickering in his eyes. But I knew it wasn't that he didn't want to divorce me, he clearly wanted to drain me completely before letting me go. Ivy seized the opportunity to link her arm through his, saying sweetly, "Marcus, they say true colors show in times of trouble. This is something that could be easily resolved, but Grace won't help. She's so selfish. Why keep a wife like this? She's ugly, fat, and has no money. She's totally unworthy of you." Marcus, cold as ice, was about to speak. The next moment, the ceiling light fell. It crashed directly toward me, Ivy, and Marcus. Marcus quickly pulled Ivy away to dodge it. I also quickly dodged, but accidentally slipped and fell to the ground. "Ivy, are you okay?" Marcus's eyes were full of worry. Seeing didn't speak, he picked her up and ran toward the hospital. As he left, he stared fixedly at me, gnashing his teeth. "Grace, this is the restaurant you personally decorated? You can't even install a ceiling light properly. What good are you? I'm telling you, if anything happens to Ivy, I'll make sure you regret it. I felt weak all over, a piercing pain in my lower abdomen, and blood streamed continuously from my belly. I ignored our grievances and kept calling out to Marcus to take me to the hospital, but all that remained was his increasingly distant back. My consciousness gradually blurred. I saw a store employee run over. Using all my strength, I told him, I need an induction abortion. Please take me to the hospital. After that, I passed out. When I woke up, a group of friends surrounded me, looking at me with concern. Are you okay, Grace? I touched my belly, my expression dazed and complex. After all, this child was the result of 2 years of hard work and hopeful anticipation. Now it was gone just like that, and I couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness. After just 1 minute, I pulled myself together. Now was not the time for sadness. That despicable pair had to be dealt with quickly. 08 I had my friends find some more shills and hired several reporters to make a scene at the restaurant entrance. Pay up, pay up. I got diarrhea from your food. Me too. I was vomiting and had diarrhea when I got home. Pay up, pay up. Marcus's face was full of worry. He had no choice but to call me and ask me to come solve the problem. He was naturally not cut out for business. Before, I handled all the big and small matters for the restaurant, telling him what to do, and he would execute. This scene frightened him considerably. When I arrived, he handed me an apology letter. Read this, got it? After saying that, he pushed me to the front to deal with it, not even noticing that my round belly had become smaller. I was pushed to the door, opened the paper, and instantly laughed out of anger at the shameless words. He wanted me to apologize to everyone, claiming it was my fault, and that I was willing to offer $100,000 as compensation as part of my apology. Ivy whispered beside me, oh, the baby's gone. Let's see if Marcus still wants you. Do you know? I intentionally set up that falling light to harm you. Who knew you and Marcus were so stupid? I just made a small plan, and you both fell for it. TSK TSK TSK, soon everything you have will be mine. I ignored her, and under Marcus and Ivy's hopeful gazes, I tore up the paper. Everyone, Marcus is the legal representative. I am merely a stay-at-home wife and am not clear about the restaurant's affairs. I'm here today for a divorce. I took out the tablet I was holding. On it was a shocking recording of Marcus and Ivy talking to the chef. Spending is down now, and business is tough. Next time, don't buy fresh meat and vegetables. Buy rotten produce and spoiled meat, they're cheaper. I think some dishes don't need to be stir-fried from scratch. What if customers get impatient waiting? Just bring in some pre-made meals, they're cheap, fast, and taste pretty good. What if customers get diarrhea? Just put some laxative in their food. That'll fix it. Marcus stared at me with furious, bloodshot eyes, quickly rushed over, and gripped my throat tightly. UF ****ing B **TCH. Are you crazy? What good does ruining me do you? Seeing this, Ivy was overjoyed. Hit her harder. I could no longer control my temper. I raised the tablet in my hand and smashed it onto Marcus's head. Marcus cried out in pain and released me. I turned again, grabbed Ivy's hair, and slapped her several times. Marcus, veins bulging with rage, pushed me to the ground. He pulled out the belt from his waist and whipped it against me with a smack. Grace, you're so ungrateful. You're pregnant, fat, and ugly, but when have I ever despised you? Do you even deserve me? As soon as he finished speaking, he looked down at my belly. He stared in disbelief for a moment. Where's your big belly? The baby, where's the baby? 09 I smirked, you got rid of it. The hand clutching his belt trembled slightly, and his voice betrayed his unease. What do you mean? I stood up, walked toward him step by step, and spoke to him word by word. The moment the ceiling light fell, you didn't care about me. I fell to the ground, bleeding everywhere, and you didn't care about me. Did you think my womb was indestructible, that it would remain perfectly fine no matter how you harmed it? Marcus, you, who were about to become a father, are the murderer of my child. You, with your own hands, destroyed your family's bloodline. I wouldn't tell him it was Ivy's setup, otherwise, he would try to excuse himself. I wanted him to live in eternal regret. Marcus stood rooted to the spot, as if he were in a bottomless abyss. I scoffed. This was just an appetizer. My friends brought people over. Grace, my family and friends are here. Dare to bully Grace? Smash this place to hell. Without another word, they started smashing the restaurant. A mix of genuine and fake onlookers also went in to join the commotion. Ivy panicked, pulling Marcus's hand, telling him to stop them. She wanted the restaurant, but not a demolished one. Marcus came to his senses and was completely distraught, looking at me with pleading eyes. Grace, tell them to stop. This restaurant was something you worked so hard to build. Aren't you sad to see it destroyed? Oh, hearing him say that, I remembered. When the restaurant was first established, he vowed to open an ethical restaurant with me, to ensure quality, so customers could eat with peace of mind, to build a good reputation, and earn trust. But as soon as I became pregnant and stopped managing the restaurant, he started cutting corners. Now, with the restaurant in ruins, it was his karma. The baby was gone, the restaurant was gone. Marcus's knees buckled, and he collapsed onto the floor with a thud. Overwhelmed with grief, he collapsed to the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. I gave my friend a look, and she immediately pulled out a video. The next second, the video showing Ivy marrying another man and jointly plotting against Marcus was made public. Marcus watched, dumbfounded, staring at Ivy with a look of utter disbelief. I took the opportunity to leave the scene with my friends. From then on, the divorce matters would be handled by my lawyer and Marcus. Before getting into the car, I glanced at the ruined restaurant and saw Marcus furiously beating Ivy. Nothing had anything to do with me anymore. In the car, my friends were still upset. Just smashing the restaurant isn't satisfying enough. Exactly, I say we should have beaten them both until they needed to go to the hospital. I said nothing. They would tear each other apart on their own, why bother doing more? I closed my eyes, his promises echoing in my mind. He said he would cherish me, love me for life, and no matter what happened in the future, he would always stand by me first. He said he would make Henry and Margaret, and all my relatives know that my judgment was not wrong, that he wouldn't let me lose. So, I gave him everything. I, who couldn't cook, started managing household chores. I, who used to spend lavishly, began practicing frugality. I, who was most afraid of pain, gradually grew accustomed to physical and emotional suffering. The restaurant's booming business and the success of our IVF once made me believe we were a happy family and would live even happier lives in the future. But in the end, it couldn't withstand the theory that men change when they get rich. He began to think that I, with my plain face, was unworthy of a successful man like him. He started to believe that all my efforts for him were just me trying to curry favor. Yet I foolishly kept looking for problems in myself, thinking perhaps I wasn't good enough for him. So, I tried my best to be understanding and became even more virtuous. My hands became rough, and my face grew wrinkled, but I didn't care. My friends were all incredulous, feeling I was just like a character from a tragic legend. But I was willing to do it. I believed my ending would be 1,000,000 times better than a character from a tragic legend. It turned out I was wrong. I realized that only by loving myself could I be loved. Now I needed to let go of everything from the past and start a new life. After all, I had just miscarried, and my body still needed a postpartum recovery period. I didn't want my parents to see me like this and add to their sorrow. So my friend let me stay at her house. To keep me from grieving, she even specifically hired 2 handsome male caregivers to look after my daily needs. As soon as I walked in, my phone rang. It was Marcus calling. Without a second thought, I hung up and blocked him. Then text messages started bombarding me, one after another. I blocked and deleted them all. Without even looking, I knew they were frantic apologies. Before, when I called and sent texts, he couldn't be bothered. Now it was his turn. 11A friend sent me a video. Marcus beat Ivy until she was covered in blood, pulling her hair and roaring hysterically. You *TCH, you ruined my happy family. I'm going to kill you. Go apologize to Grace right now. As long as you apologize to her, she'll forgive me. Marcus thought an apology could win back my forgiveness. But he forgot my bottom line. I had said that if he ever cheated or betrayed me, I would leave him. And how could Ivy possibly cooperate? Back then, she and Jake thought Marcus was the rich one. So they conspired, seduced him, and drove a wedge between us. Now, they'd overplayed their hand. The restaurant faced bankruptcy, and Marcus had taken advantage of her, leaving her with nothing. Jake ran over. He delivered a powerful kick to Marcus's chest. You scumbag. Not only did you rape my wife, but you also hit her. I'm going to sue you and make sure you rot in jail. Marcus grew frantic, his neck flushed with anger. Bullshit. You clearly conspired against me. How else would I have fallen into your trap? I'm the one who's going to sue you and make you pay. Marcus took out his phone and showed it to them. On it were photos he had secretly taken of me when we first started dating. Rape your wife? Open your eyes and look. What is there about Ivy that I would like? She's not as pretty as my wife, her figure isn't as good as my wife's before she got pregnant, she's worse in every aspect. Why would I even bother? When I saw that, I said NLY laughed. I had no desire to watch any further. Late apologies are worthless. 12 I was peacefully undergoing my postpartum recovery period at home. There was frantic knocking at the door. I thought it was a friend and motioned for the caregiver to open the door. Marcus burst in and saw a male caregiver feeding me fruit. The next moment, Marcus roughly pushed him aside and forcefully grabbed my wrist. I looked up, his gaze was filled with intense resentment. Grace, who are they? Why are you being so intimate with other men behind my back? I shook him off, saying calmly, what's wrong with hiring a caregiver to look after me during my postpartum recovery period? Besides, we're about to be ex-husband and ex-wife. What right do you have to accuse me? You have no tolerance whatsoever. Marcus's eyes practically sparked with fire. As long as we're not divorced, you're my wife, and everything about you is my business. What's more, I'm not going to divorce you. I said indifferently, oh, then just wait to be sued. Marcus's face instantly went pale. He knelt before me, grabbing my wrist, his face full of remorse. Grace, I've been doing a lot of self-reflection lately. Now that I think about it, I've been a complete jerk. I listened to scoundrels and overlooked how good you were to me. I was truly wrong. Please, just give me one more chance, okay? I'll be 10,000 times better to you. I'll give you the restaurant entirely. If you don't want to have children, we won't. From now on, I'll be a stay-at-home husband, taking care of you just like you used to take care of me. I'll only listen to you, okay? When we first got married, I felt I was still young and wasn't willing to give up my career to get pregnant and have children. I had pleaded with him about this for a long time too. But he used the excuse that men are heaven and women are earth to persuade me to have children. I struggled for a long time but finally agreed. Now, it resulted in his PLE. As and remorse. But this belated realization and apology were too late. Broken things always have cracks, no matter how much you try to fix them. Whether he would learn to cherish me and mend his ways in the future, I didn't want him anymore. I pulled my hand free and replied coldly, why bother? You should just leave quickly before I run out of what little patience I have left for you. Marcus shook his head frantically. No, you love me so much. How could you do this to me? There must be a reason. He glanced at the male caregiver beside me, pointed at him, and questioned me. Are you moving on to someone else? Is it because he's younger and more handsome than me that you've fallen for him? As he spoke, he glanced at my belly, looking at me with suspicion. The baby you were carrying before, it wasn't from our family, was it? Instantly, fury surged from the depths of my heart. For the past 2 years, he and I went to the hospital again and again, injections, blood draws, egg retrievals, transfers. If it failed, we tried again. I endured the pain of egg retrieval and the risk of premature ovarian failure, and in the end, he shamelessly questioned me. Marcus, you're the one who moved on, you're the one who trampled on my feelings, you're the one who hurt me again and again. And now you're forcing me to forgive you? Don't you think you're being ridiculous? I'm telling you, not only is there no future for us, but I don't even want to see you in my next life. I said plainly, then turned and walked toward the bedroom. I told the caregiver to kick him out. Marcus wouldn't leave. He pushed the 2 men in front of him like a madman, yelling, get out of here. I'm not done talking to Grace. Grace, I was just so jealous of them. They get to be with you every day, and they're handsome and tall and good at taking care of you. I was so afraid you'd fall for them over time and leave me, so I just spoke without thinking. Grace, Grace, I turned around at the bedroom door, looking at him expressionlessly. I said, word for word, Marcus, I refuse to be with the murderer of my child. And I certainly don't want a man who's been soiled. Let go. The more you act like this, the more you disgust me. He moved his lips, tears slid down his cheeks, and all life seemed to drain from him. Marcus left like a zombie. I called out to him, remember to sign the divorce papers. You already have a pile of lawsuits, you wouldn't want another one, would you? He didn't say another word and left the room. 13 My friend helped me find out that Marcus had tracked my location using online big data. I have other houses. Why don't you move to a different one? I refused. After a period of recuperation, I looked much better. It was time to go home and see Henry and Margaret. Henry personally cooked my favorite dishes. Margaret and I sat on the sofa, holding my hand, talking with me, and she asked me to take over Henry's company. As they talked, the conversation took an unexpected turn. Margaret took out a stack of photos of eligible men for me to see. Honey, as the saying goes, goodbye means goodbye, the next one will be better. I've thoroughly vetted all these men, and they're excellent. I guarantee you'll be satisfied. I was a little dumbfounded. For now, I still want to focus on my career. Margaret put them away and didn't pursue the topic further. I knew she wanted me to move past my pain. So, during dinner, Henry and Margaret bought 3 plane tickets. It's been a long time since we had a family trip together. We'll leave tomorrow. I nodded, smiling. It felt good to be home. During our trip, my lawyer friend called, saying Marcus had contacted her. He asked how to send Ivy and her husband to prison. I didn't get involved, just told her to follow the proper procedure. I was busy skydiving and scuba diving, having the time of my life. My friend asked me to look at a murder case in the news. It turned out that Ivy and Jake had gotten rich by swindling people out of their money. If the woman was rich, her husband would seduce her. If the man was rich, Ivy would seduce him. They had never gotten caught before, but this time, they completely crashed and burned. The police were going to arrest them and sentence them to 10 years in prison. Jake was furious. He couldn't quell his anger without taking revenge. While on the run, he found Marcus with a knife. He stabbed him 5 or 6 times, each blow hitting a vital spot. Before dying, Marcus shed tears, murmuring, "Grace, I'm sorry." Marcus died, and since I hadn't divorced yet, I became a widow. The several millions he had automatically transferred to my name, without me needing to mediate anything. I knew that from this point on, he would finally stop bothering me. Jake was sentenced to death, and Ivy was sentenced to 10 years in prison. To get revenge for me, my friend arranged for people to bully her in prison. She cried all day long, and soon, she cried herself blind. My life became busy. Henry handed over all the company's business to me, telling me to get familiar with it as quickly as possible. Seeing my business capabilities grow stronger, he directly announced at a business dinner that I would be fully in charge of the company from then on. At the dinner, my friends raised their glasses one by one, celebrating my escape from misery, my career success, and how beautiful I was becoming. My lawyer friend quietly told me that Marcus was killed on his way to sign the divorce papers. I took a sip of wine, my heart completely undisturbed. This was probably his karma. I became even busier, opening several subsidiary companies under my name, and the company flourished even more. Seeing that I was 40, I still had no plans to marry. Henry and Margaret inevitably grew anxious, each trying to find a suitable partner for me. "Don't you get lonely being alone?" I replied that I wasn't. Those with a rich inner world are never truly alone. Thank you for watching today's story. If you liked this video, please like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.